DrawnOut made his YouTube career by hating on Bethesda. His very first video was craping on Starfield. Now Starfield has lots of flaws, and it's an easy game to dismantle and destroy critically. But Mr. DrawnOut admitted himself he never played the game until 3 years later.
Alright, let's go back to March 2021. Microsoft just purchased ZeniMax for $7.5 billion. Reports come out that Bethesda is still in charge of their IP though. Everything has to go through Todd. So 5 years go by. The Fallout TV show is a huge hit. Fallout is just more popular than ever. But 5 years have gone by. And the only way to play new Fallout content is through Fallout 76 updates. No new game has been greenlit, and Fallout 5 won't come until probably the late 2030s. Now, Xbox has been run by a gamer for over a decade, and things have never been worse. Phil gets replaced by Asha, who is notably not a gamer, and Asha takes a look at Xbox's most...
Phil Spencer is not a real gamer. He is a bland corporate general-purpose manager that Microsoft assigned to LARP, to literally live-action roleplay as a gamer. There's probably corpo suits that are more real gamers in the Microsoft shareholder meeting than him.
Asha, who is notably not a gamer, and Asha takes a look at Xbox's most popular IP and sees Fallout and Elder Scrolls haven't had a release in 11 and 15 years. You know, real actual releases.
Asha Shwarma is a personification of the Microsoft corporate shareholders and executives. While Skyrim was selling and raking in millions, and the live service games ESO and Fallout 76, both respectively themed as Elder Scrolls and Fallout, were imagined to be the future of both franchises, it was all good. Games as a service model failed, and Bethesda was bought out.
So Asha goes online and sees fans do in fact still love these franchises, and within a couple of months of being in charge, has seen the most obvious move available to them and acted on it. And I kinda see it like this. At the top you have Xbox, and then there's Bethesda Game Studios and Obsidian.
This view of things is extremely flawed. Microsoft owns all of those entities. Obsidian is dead. That's Microsoft Obsidian. Bethesda is dead. That's Microsoft Bethesda. It's all just microslop.
Bethesda has their IP with Fallout, Elder Scrolls, and Starfield. And then Oblivion has a whole bunch of things going on over there, including 2 mystery projects. Now, of course, the head of Xbox was Phil Spencer. And I think Phil would think to himself, I'm going to go and find out what my developers are doing. So he would come down to Bethesda Game Studios and he would, knock on the door.
By the way, that's not how any of this works.
And of course, Todd would come out and, these guys are good friends. They've known each other for a while. And I imagine Phil would be curious about what's going on with the various projects over at Bethesda. He would ask how Elder Scrolls is going. And I'm sure Todd would lie and say, they're getting there. Everything's moving along nice and smoothly. Phil might come down here and then he might just walk past that one. And you'd come over here and you'd say, well, what's going on with this one, Todd? And Todd would be like, oh, well, that one? Oh, we're doing more with that one than we ever have before. Like, Phil, have you tried Fallout 76 recently? And we can only assume that Phil would be satisfied with this conversation. He'd be like, oh, I'm so glad you're doing so much with Fallout, Todd. Oh, I can't wait to see Elder Scrolls. I can't wait, Todd. He'd probably get a good whiff of Todd's aura while he's there. And he'd walk his happy ass right back to Xbox and just do nothing. Todd would wipe his brow because he dodged another bullet from what could have been, maybe some management coming down on him.
Quarterly reports and profits numbers happen all the time. As long as Skyrim was selling, it was all good. And while Microsoft was doubling down on Game Pass, thinking that it will become profitable eventually, until they figured it will never be profitable last year, when millions cancelled it after price hikes.
And he'd walk his happy ass back into Bethesda and continue to do nothing as well. But eventually you can't run a business like this, and Phil got tossed out. This is when we got Asha, and while she might look friendly on the outside, I think there's a little something going on in there. Asha does not like inefficiencies. So when Asha took over Xbox...
The meme that Asha is the one making all these decisions has gone too far. It's all Microsoft. Some board of executives and directors is making all these cuts and choices in an effort to make Xbox at least break even instead of hemorrhaging billions.
And, she was thinking about what her developers are doing. I imagine she eventually made her way over to Bethesda Game Studios and, knocked on the door. Todd came out and he thought, oh, this will be an easy one, right? Asha started asking questions, hey, Todd, where's this one at? Todd probably tried his bullshit answers, which, that may have gotten him somewhere with the Elder Scrolls, because they are in production and everything like that. I'm sure.
The Elder Scrolls 6 is not in production. All they got is that fake trailer from 8 years ago, made by one landscape artist and an intern that does 3D text in an afternoon.
Asha was a little bit more understanding when it came to something that they're actively making, at least. But eventually you have to imagine that Asha came over here and was like, well, Todd, I see a lot of people online like this one. And so Todd thought, I've done this a million times. I can dodge this one again. Well, you see, Asha, we're doing more with Fallout than we ever have before. Have you seen 76? And Asha probably turned to him and said, yes, Todd, I have seen Fallout 76. It's not your greatest work, I wouldn't say. Todd, we have another studio with a lot of people that have experience with this IP here. And this is where I can only imagine Todd got kind of sad, because he knew where things were going. Yeah, Todd, I think we're gonna let them take a crack at it. As she turned around and she grabbed her Fallout IP, and I imagine she walked right over to Obsidian, where she then looked at some things people like, but it's just she's a numbers kind of girl. It's just probably just not the kind of stuff she's looking at, especially that one.
No one liked Avowed.
I mean, you saw Avowed.
Apparently down here, one of these mystery projects looked a lot like Fallout. Asha probably wondered, what should I do here? I don't think it was really that big of a decision. She just kind of took everything Obsidian was working on and then she took Fallout and she just kind of placed it right there. She called that a job done, turned around and went right back to Xbox. And I just want to point out how poetic this is. I mean, Bethesda was incredibly aggressive in obtaining the Fallout IP from Interplay. And so after over 15 years of Bethesda being in basically sole control of Fallout, it only took a few months of a new boss to...
It's not a few months. Microsoft owns the Fallout franchise since 2021. It took them 5 years to make this change.
To just give the IP right back to Obsidian. And I'm not saying that Obsidian literally owns the IP or anything now. I mean, as we can all tell, Xbox clearly owns the IP right now. But I think it's important to realize that Todd does not get to make the decisions on Fallout anymore. And of course, I'm sorry for anybody who was looking forward to Avowed 2, all maybe like 12 of you. But this right here just clearly is the better decision. It's best for business, and it's just what I wanted, so I'm happy for it. And I know you've seen a thumbnail, an article, a full video. I know you know about this. But there is a new Fallout game reportedly coming from Obsidian. Now, of course, reportedly means it's a rumor, so it's like...
Anyway, it will be shit. Obsidian hasn't made a good game since people say, like, either it's Pillars of Eternity or South Park: The Stick of Truth. Around that time was the last good game they made over a decade ago. So why the hell would anyone trust them?
Insider info or something. But it is important to mention that this is directly from Jason Schreier. The article I'm using at the top is Forbes, and this is from Paul Tassi, but that's just because Bloomberg wants money from me to read their articles. Just for credibility's sake, a few things that Jason has gotten right. He accurately predicted that Fallout 4 was set in Boston in 2013. Of course, it wasn't revealed until 2015 that was true. He also leaked an entire script for Fallout 4's main storyline. He called Xbox closing Arcane, Tango, and other studios before it happened. He was right about 2023 Epic.
No one cares about what Bloomberg or Schreier have to say about video games. Microsoft cancelling the ban and blacklist that was justifiably put on Jason Schreier by Bethesda 15 years ago, officially allowing him to conduct an interview with Todd, says more about Microsoft than anything.
Is that Josh Sawyer is reportedly going to be like the project lead of this game. He is, of course, most known for being the project director on Fallout New Vegas, and that just lends a ton of credibility to the project in general.
Pillars of Shiternity 1 and 2 are woke slop cree PGs. No one cares about Pentiment. This clown is a political activist, going off the deep end into the extremes of stereotypical California delusions of current year. Him being on the team is opposite of giving credibility to the project. It is guarantee it will be slop and full of real-world political propaganda.
But it doesn't stop with Josh. There are actually a lot of people working at Obsidian right now that will assumingly be working on this game because it's basically the only thing Obsidian is doing right now. Of course, one of them is Fergus. He has been there since the start. He was the division director on Fallout 1, and he had 4 different high-level roles for Fallout 2. He was also the CEO of Obsidian during New Vegas. Now, Fergus is more of an executive type role. He is not really part of making
No one cares about this seasoned general purpose manager.
the games, I don't think. But don't worry, because we have Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine is probably a name that you know. He is the original creator of Fallout. He also has a YouTube channel that you should definitely check out. And for Fallout 1, he was the producer, lead programmer, and original game designer. And he also did original game design, more of an Fallout 1. And he also did original game design for Fallout 2. Now, sort of a fun fact is that Leonard, Tremel Ray Isaac, and George Almond were basically the art team that created Vault Boy and all of the various cards and everything that were in the original Fallout games. And last but certainly not least, we have John Gonzalez, and he was the lead creative designer and writer for New Vegas. He is credited with many characters such as Mr. House, Yes Man, Benny, and many more. There are even more people at Obsidian that worked on the original Fallout games and on Fallout New Vegas. And sadly, we are missing Chris Avallone, who was incredibly important to Fallout 2 and New Vegas. But in spite of that, we still have an amazing Fallout team here, and I really just can't wait to see what they do.
Now all of the real talent is gone. I know people are going to cope that Josh Sawyer's still there. But Josh Sawyer, like, you have to understand, not only do creatives lose talent over time, this is easily observable. There's like a million cases of people who used to make great things that go on to make shit. But also, many lefty-leaning people of the past got Trump derangement syndrome and then just went off the deep end. Like, Josh Sawyer's one of those people. He's done, like, pro-trans tweets and all that kind of shit. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I've seen screenshots of his tweets. He's definitely politically compromised. I think Tim Kaine's still with Oblivion as well. We know he's a lefty. Or Obsidian, I mean, not Oblivion. He's still with Obsidian. He's a lefty. Chris Avallone's obviously not coming back, and he's the fucking Fallout lore writer, so you're not going to have the Fallout lore writer on the new Fallout. And the funny thing is, he got offers to work at Obsidian, but why the fuck would he'd have to be an idiot? Because his buddies threw him under the bus as soon as the Me Too allegations came out amongst him. When the Me Too allegations came out against him, his buddies threw him under the bus. And why the fuck would he work for Obsidian then? Like, he'd have to be an idiot, right? So, no Chris Avallone. It's gonna suck. The hundreds of unnamed devs that never get any credit that are key to so much of what we enjoy about video games don't work there. That's always the problem with video games are a very complex medium. It takes a lot of people to make a good game, right? Relatively. I guess if you're making a PS1, PS2 style game, it could maybe only take 25 to 50 people. But even then, out of that 25 to 50 people, how many people get credit for making the game good? Probably 3 max. You know, you got like the game director, maybe sometimes like the composer or an art director or some kind of head game designer person will get credit. All those other people who worked on the game will never know how much they realistically contributed to make the game good. All we can observe is that obviously when the talent gets churned out and replaced with Indians or DEI hires, that the next game is shit.
Paul Tassie's article goes on to say, it seems like we are entering something of a common sense era for Xbox in terms of many major
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella confirmed that the company has subsidized its gaming division, including Xbox Game Pass, year after year, and noted that Xbox must now transition into a self-sustaining business. The financial model has not yielded sufficient revenue, which prompted an upcoming reset to achieve economic stability.
The somewhat underwhelming Starfield and is staring down the barrel of an Elder Scrolls 6 that will probably not be out until a decade after it was first announced. So I never miss an opportunity to rag on Starfield. I just want to point out we're right back down to where we were before that stupid fucking update. Right down to under the 5K players. And when it comes to Elder Scrolls,
DrawnOut admitted he didn't play Starfield and older Bethesda games.
6 releasing, I mean, IGN has something to say about that. IGN made this article after all of the layoffs that Xbox did recently. and it's titled The Elder Scrolls 6 Will Suffer Because of Xbox Layoffs. Bethesda staff say, fearing delays, crunch, and generational talent being replaced by contractors. The article goes on to say, speaking on conditions of anonymity, that's such a hard word to say. Current and former staff had told me that job losses across Bethesda Game Studio locations have removed more than 50 employees, including key high-performing people in the trenches.
Knowing how corrupt corporations operate, this is probably true. Seeing ID Software was decimated, and lots of good programmers and talented developers were cut. Meanwhile, the political activists that should be fired are still at Microsoft. DrawnOut has another video full of falsehoods. Playing with dolls like a little girl, as if Todd was Ken and Asha was Barbie.